What are some of hypnosis and self-hypnosis issues?
Hypnosis has become a very common practice and many claim to heal people by this method. However, this practice has several shortcomings, including: first, as we saw in the previous video, there is chaos in its practices, and most of those who claim to use hypnotherapy are not psychologists and are not qualified to treat people or help them solve their psychological, family, or professional problems. Added to that is that hypnosis, as organized by the psychologist Erickson, is not used in any way and widely, but rather has rules and conditions and is used in limited pathological cases. Secondly, it is important to note that under the influence of hypnosis, the hypnotized person becomes in a state of unconsciousness, deprived of will, and thus has no control. This contradicts the simplest ethical rules as well as basic principle in the Christian faith that emphasizes the freedom of man created in the image and likeness of God. The hypnotist becomes the absolute master and may suggest to the hypnotized person things that may not necessarily agree with him and may exploit him for an immoral matter and expose him to physical, psychological, and spiritual damages. Indeed, many violations have occurred and are still happening today. This prompted governmental and non-governmental organizations in Europe to warn of the transgressions of these people, knowing that most of them belong to cults or have perverted beliefs. As it turns out that some of them exploit people and trade with them. For example, they tell the patient that during hypnosis, it became clear from childhood memories that their family had assaulted them and that they were in dire need of treatment. So they robbed them of huge sums of money. The hypnotized person without will is also subject to the interventions of fallen spiritual beings who may take advantage of the circumstance to suggest certain ideas or to control the patient's soul. Third, most psychological researchers believe that real psychological treatment is by voluntary and conscious action and not by means of hypnosis. Hypnosis may generate a kind of apathy and negative psychological consequences in the long term, such as confusion, anxiety, identity crisis, insomnia, personality disorder, lack of focus, abnormal sexual behavior, depression, memory disorder, and others. Finally, the side effects of hypnosis can be classified into 6 categories. Problems caused by hypnotic suggestions, problems caused by ignoring real psychological problems, panic attacks and psychotic attacks, cases of depression that lead to suicide, the emergence of alternative symptoms, that is, new symptoms replace other symptoms or new symptoms appear alongside the old ones, the exploitation of the hypnotist of the patient through false suggestions. A fortune teller expert in occult practices converted to the Christian faith asserts that hypnosis is never safe. Rather, it is a usurpation of thought, will, and personal freedom. In fact, hypnosis is very dangerous because it opens the doors of the soul to strange spiritual interventions and confirms that hypnotherapists are a tool in the hands of Satan who uses them to harm and mislead. And she lists many incidents that had very serious spiritual damage that required prayers for liberation.